On tonight's jam-packed edition of Whether or Not, we have a feature on Pennsylvania wetlands and how climate change may affect them. And we have Nature in the News stories all the way from glaciers to celebrating Arbor Day. Whether or Not starts right now. And thank you again for joining us on this edition of Whether or Not. I am your host, Andy Moffitt.
And I'm your forecaster, Jake Langedyk.
And we've been below average these past several days here, temperature-wise. Is that going to continue these next few days?
Well, I can offer you this. The calendar may say spring will start on Wednesday, but Mother Nature has other plans for the weekend. It's going to be relatively sunny, a few clouds in the sky, but temperatures are still going to remain a little below average for this time of year. So if you're going outside anytime this weekend, just bundle up. It's a wise thing to do. All
right. Well, thank you, Jake, and I'm sure you'll tell us when we'll warm up, potentially, in your forecast. But first, here's Nature in the News.
The Central Pennsylvania Conservancy recently completed a purchase of 30 acres of land, a historic watercress farm near Letort Park near Carlisle in Cumberland County. While that might sound just a little odd at first, there's a lot of history behind this little parcel of land. It was first settled back in 1720 by James Letort, a French fur trader looking for a location to do business with Native Americans in the area. Nowadays, though, the area is renowned by trout fishermen worldwide as a prime locale for catching fish. But due to the farming of watercress, fertilizers and other pollutants have been seeping into the nearby streams and springs. But the Conservancy is hoping to reverse the damage thanks to a nearly $400,000 grant. The organization hopes to use the Letort Stream as a core preserve and the setting for ecological restoration, passive recreation, historic interpretation, and conservation education. You can help fund the restoration of this area too, as the Conservancy is raising money by publishing a book filled with essays from fishermen and locals who have enjoyed the beauty of the stream for hundreds of years. The Letort, a limestone legacy, is currently being sold on the Central PA Conservancy's website, where you can also learn more about the history of the Letort Spring Run.
The Arbor Day Foundation announced Wednesday 6 individuals and organizations that are recipients of a 2018 Arbor Day Award in honor of their outstanding contribution to tree planting, conservation, and stewardship. Receiving the Trailblazer Award is Erica Smith Fitchman of Philadelphia. In 2012, Erica developed Tree Philly, an urban forestry outreach program with the goal of increasing tree canopy to 30% across every neighborhood in Philadelphia. Under Erica's leadership, Tree Philly strives to ensure that its programs are accessible to all residents of Philadelphia. The Trailblazer Award recognizes an individual under the age of 35 who has demonstrated leadership in forestry, community forestry, research, or tree care during the past 5 years. Arbor Day was founded in 1872 by J. Sterling Morton in Nebraska City, Nebraska, and this year Arbor Day is celebrated on April 27th. To learn more, visit the Arbor Day Foundation website.
It's common knowledge that the melting ice sheets of both Antarctica and Greenland will contribute greatly to increasing sea levels. By the middle of the century, in fact, if trends continue, sea levels will rise by over 6 inches, and by 2100, coastal communities could face sea levels over 3 feet higher than what they are currently. Geoengineers are working on developing artificial islands and dams to try and curtail the rising oceans, but have you ever heard about geoengineering the glaciers themselves? In the International Journal of Science Nature, John Moore, professor of climate change at the University of Lapland in Finland, has 3 proposals to try and curtail shrinking ice caps. Moore's ideas include building a 100-meter-high concrete berm across the ice shelf to prevent warm water from melting the ice from beneath, supporting the existing glacier with a 1,000-foot-tall artificial island to buttress the existing glacier and jam the flow of water out to open ocean, and pumping sub-freezing water into the base of the glacier to strengthen it and prevent sliding and breakage. Moore, along with his fellow colleagues Rupert Gladstone, Thomas Zwinger, and Michael Wolovic, write that these proposals are roughly equivalent in cost to large-scale civil engineering projects, but their feasibility requires much further research.
The Pennsylvania Association of Environmental Professionals will hold their 2018 conference on May 2nd to May 4th at the Toft Trees Resort in State College. The purpose of the association is to promote environmental education, research, planning, assessment, review, and management through the formation and operation of a non-political, multidisciplinary society. The theme for the conference, Branches of Knowledge, will promote and teach about the unique nature of environmental careers and will exemplify the importance of using various fields of study to help analyze and solve environmental issues. More information on programs, initiatives, and other upcoming events is available by visiting the Pennsylvania Association of Environmental Professionals website at www.paep.org.
Well, there's good news and bad news about this weekend's forecast. The good news is we will see plenty of sunshine, which is quite frankly something we have not seen in quite some time here in central Pennsylvania. But the bad news is, though, at least for the first part of the weekend, temperatures will remain a little bit on the chilly side. Let's start off with Friday. You'll notice some snow showers trying to work its way down to our south, but it's mostly going to be towards northern Pennsylvania, the Laurel Highlands, higher elevations. They will see some snow showers. Here in central Pennsylvania, we'll see little, if any, in the way of accumulations. Mostly going to be off to the north and well off to the northeast, past upstate New York and into New England. But you'll notice down to our south, some cold air is going to try and work its way down through the mid-Atlantic, down to the south. So areas like the Gulf Shores and the Florida Panhandle could see temperatures as low as 30 degrees on Friday, which is something we do not see for this time of year, especially in that locale. For Saturday, though, we'll start to warm up a little bit as high pressure begins to build in down to our south. We'll have a partly and mostly clear sky across much of the Commonwealth, and we can say pretty much the exact same thing for Sunday. High pressure continues to build. We'll have a partly and mostly clear sky, but there is a little disturbance that's going to work its way to our area for Monday and Tuesday. We could see some more rain showers, possibly some snow, but I'll time all that out in my extended forecast in a few minutes' time. Back to Friday, temperatures are going to be a little bit on the chilly side. Once again, 34 degrees with a mostly cloudy sky. It's going to be quite chilly with those winds trying to whip up. So wind chill's going to get down to around 20, possibly 25. So you're going to want to bundle up for your Friday. Friday night's going to be a little bit chilly once again. Temperatures dropping down to 22 degrees. But with those winds, though, wind chills could dip down into the teens. But Saturday, though, we start to warm up just a tad bit, 42 degrees with plenty of sunshine. And on Sunday, we warm up even more still, 49 degrees with a mostly sunny sky, running about 4 to 5 degrees warmer than what we should be for this time of year. But it's been chilly for the last couple of days, so we could use a little bit of a warm up when and if we can get it. Now, for a look at this week's feature, we turn things over now to Bree, who has a look at wetlands here in Pennsylvania.
Climate may be changing for the worse, and an essential environmental element called wetlands may be at risk. Wetlands are one of the most powerful and productive ecosystems that help protect life here on Earth. There are wetlands all around the world, and each has a multitude of functions that are unique to different areas. Wetlands provide the source of life to the species that inhabit them and are a vital component to watersheds, which many living things are all connected to. As climate science continues to grow, scientists have found that wetlands contribute to a healthy atmosphere where they store carbon in their soil and release it into the atmosphere as carbon dioxide. Denise Wardrobe, Associate Director of Riparia for Penn State, who studies wetland plant communities in PA and around the world, explains the impact increasing temperatures can have on wetlands and the atmosphere.
Diffusivity of oxygen is very, very low when you're wet. So you don't have any oxygen, and you're depending on microbes to break all that plant matter down. So basically, it's wet, there's no oxygen, so you're not burning up organic matter, right? The other thing that matters is the quality of the carbon you're trying to break down, right? So these sedges and these wetland plants, and this was probably especially true in Peru. Remember how dense that plant matter was, right? Its carbon to nitrogen ratio was pretty high, and it's got a lot of lignin in it. It doesn't break down easy. It's very resistant to decomposition. So wetlands, by nature of the plants and the fact that it's wet, are just, that's why they're carbon storage features. This stuff just doesn't break down. And so the danger is once those systems dries out, stuff will just burn off like that. Carbon will just start burning off.
Denise also explains the balance that is needed for this carbon cycle when wetlands release carbon into the atmosphere as carbon dioxide.
So people say, okay, let's measure how much carbon you're storing per year versus how much methane per year you're fluxing out, right? And if you're storing 25 times more carbon than you are emitting carbon as methane, then you're storing carbon. And in our view, you're a carbon storage feature and you can get protection for climate change, right? But that's why we do carbon cores to get the rate of carbon accumulation, and we're measuring methane. So we have both parts of that ratio.
Right now, I'm at the Westerly Parkway Wetlands Center Trail right here in State College. Our very own state has about over 400,000 acres of wetlands. However, Pennsylvania originally had 1,127,000 acres. That is about 56% loss of wetland acreage. Pennsylvania wetlands are regulated by Pennsylvania Department of Environmental Protection. They monitor direct impacts as well as wetland discharge. These wetlands are so important that there's up to a $10,000 total penalty and a $500 penalty per day if wetlands are tampered with without approval or proper care. The goal under the Interstate Chesapeake Bay Agreement is to have no net loss of wetlands and instead net gain. Wetlands are strong behind-the-scene workers that do this work for free because of how vital they are to many ecosystems, and without them there's a high risk for potential devastation. For Weather or Not, I'm Bree.
Well, in case you needed a little reminder, this Wednesday is the first official day of spring according to our calendar. Unfortunately, though, Mother Nature is saying, winter, still on my agenda. Your weekend forecast starts off a little bit on the chilly side, 34 degrees for your daytime high on Friday, but you'll notice we start to ramp temperatures way up for Saturday into Sunday. We could top 50 degrees for Sunday, but you'll notice, though, not a raindrop, not a snowflake in sight, but that will change for the early part of next week. Monday, Tuesday, we invite a little bit of a disturbance into our weather picture. We could see some rain showers, possibly some snow mixing in for late Monday night into early Tuesday morning. Tuesday, we'll see some lingering snow showers, but otherwise cloudy, but we invite some sunshine back into our picture for Wednesday through Friday. Temperature-wise, though, we'll be right around average for this time of year, around 45, 46 degrees. But Tuesday, Wednesday will be just a little bit chilly. Temperatures hovering at around 40 degrees. Your calendar may say it's spring. Unfortunately, though, we'll have a couple more days of winter, at least for the foreseeable future.
And it does look like we'll have a cool weekend in store, but really not much precipitation, at least for the weekend.
Right. We should not discount a chance of a rain shower or snow shower from Monday and Tuesday, but other than that, it is going to be cool, it is going to be cloudy, not quite what we associate for the first day of spring, which is coming up fast and furious.
That is true. Next Wednesday is the first day of spring. And earlier in the show, we asked you, how much snowfall does State College average each spring? Is it A, 1.4 inches, B, 2.1 inches, C, 2.9 inches, or D, 3.6 inches. If you guessed D, you are correct. Even though the worst of winter is behind us, State College typically does see snow in the first few weeks of spring, which makes sense. And an average of 1.4 inches of that snow falls in April, so even some snow into April.
Now keep in mind, those totals are after March 20th. Although, we do have to say, State College remains well below average for this season when it comes to the white stuff, with 23.9 inches so far when compared to the average of around 40 inches.
Okay, so running a bit of a deficit here in State College, and I think we're quickly running out of time to meet that 40-inch mark.
As much as I love snow, as much as I love winter, I hate to say it, but this winter has been a bust.
Yep, well, there's always the next winter, so I guess we'll just have to wait for that. Well, that's all the time we have on this edition of Whether or Not. I've been your host, Andy Moffitt.
And I've been your forecaster, Jake Langedyk.
Have a good night.